now we quickly move on to the panel discussion. In interest of time, that now Martin said that he has got some exigency, he has to go. So without much delay, let's kickstart the panel discussion. To talk about this, again, overemphasizing on the topic where we're focusing on new WFM strategy and Wayforward 2021 is a very important topic for all of us to know, and also see that what is that we can do. And as I said, plan to fail, fail to plan. Unless plan is something is better, we tend to fail, which is very important now. So without much delay, let me invite Bhupesh. Bhupesh heads WFM for Concentrix in India, ASEAN, and also ANZ. Great to have you with us, Bhupesh. Bhupesh, can we have you on the screen?
Yes, I'm displaying. I have the webcam turned on. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great to have you, Bhupesh. So we have heard now Rogers, Nadia, and also from Abhi. Let me have this conversation kick-starting. Bhupesh, if you could just have your brief introduction, as we know other panel speakers already. If you could just share insights about your profile, and also let's have just a few minutes of kickstarting on the topic, because Rogers, Abhi, and then Nadia have said a lot of things. People want to hear you, right, and listen to you. If you could start with your brief introduction and then share your insights and lessons learned and way forward for 2021.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Shiva. So, myself, Bhupesh, I lead the workforce management team for Concentrix for the businesses based in India, ASEAN, and ANZ. And we've got, I think, processes that are spread over different channels, different types of customers, and inbound, outbound, and my team does a very good job in ensuring that we are able to give the right WFM support for all these different customers. Majority of work is being done from India, but we do have people based in Australia, New Zealand, and the ASEAN countries also. We've seen, I think across the board, we've seen a lot of changes in the way companies have worked in the COVID time frame. But some of the learnings, I think, or some of the things that I think not a lot of us expected really, was COVID hitting us. This is a real pandemic globally that hit us, and normally we have BCP drills happening, but this was the real pandemic, and a lot of people, a lot of companies were kind of unprepared for this. I think from Concentrix standpoint, one of the things that we've realized is our biggest assets are people. I think we have, when we look at people, I think that is one asset that we can't do without. As much as automation we do, as much as technology we deploy, I think at this point of time, the way the world is, I think people are still our biggest assets, and we have to ensure that we keep them engaged, we upskill them, especially in the lockdown phase where I think across the companies, the first thing that we were trying to do was move people away from brick and mortar to work at home environment. And for a lot of time, I mean, month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on different businesses, people were stranded. They did not have anything to do, right? So if you don't have anything to do, you can't go out of your home for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I think the first thing that we have to ensure is we engage them. I think if we did not engage them very well, we would have lost them. Not that they were jobs outside the market, but at least the teams would have felt that there's really nothing much to do. So engagement was very, very important. Now, Nadia talked about WFM. How do we make WFM strategic? But I think at this point of time, I'll say that towards March, April timeframe, everybody across the board, across all companies, across all departments, I think all of us really moved from being strategic. We had to roll up our sleeves. We had to get our hands dirty. We had to ensure that we work on a transaction. We had to track people. How many of them went home? What are they doing? So if they've gone back home, what is the productivity that they are giving us? And we saw a lot of improvement in the productivity numbers. I think when people did not have much to do, they could not go out. I think they might have felt, okay, let's log in and ensure that we are giving the right number of hours. I think we saw that happening across the board. But now that lockdowns have started to open up and we are seeing across the world, I think there is ease of people going out, and there is, I think markets have also started to open up. Now is the right time to ensure A, that we continue to engage our people, and B, start ensuring that from a WFM perspective, we've got the right tools to track the productivity. What are people really doing? How do we ensure that we've got close eye on what's really happening? I think in the new world, the biggest fear, biggest problem that we might face is when people work from home. Compliance is the biggest thing that we have to focus on. Compliance, rather than somebody trying to find out what's gone wrong, I think the best thing to say is being compliant is well to do the right stuff and nobody is watching. I think that's the kind of culture that we need to build in, and if we have issues on compliance, clients will definitely lose confidence on us as partners. I think that is the biggest piece that we guys should be focusing on in the next year. So some of the learnings that we had, I shared. I think people being the biggest skills, that biggest assets that we have. Abhishek talked about the RTA piece. I think from a WFM perspective, the world has changed and I think this is true across the companies. Operations, delivery, they always wanted RTA folks to be on the floor supporting them, and when you try and find out what's really happening on the floor, what you would see is that WFM team would say that almost 15-20% of the times they're not really doing WFM job, they're doing something else. Now that they are at home and they don't need to be on the floor, they are in a virtual command center, for example. How do we ensure that we are able to deploy some technologies like RPA to take away the mundane task? They have to focus more on analysis, and RPA should help us do the day-to-day work. I think that should be a focus area in the next year. I think that's from my side. Sure. Back to you.
Thanks, Bhavesh, for very concise sharing as far as the topic is concerned. It's really great. And can we have Abhi and Rogers on the screen? Hi. Okay. Rogers, recently Infosys has been talking about hybrid work culture and work environment. If you could throw some light on that hybrid working environment, Infosys has been talking about it. Have you started doing it in ANZ region, or still has to go through?
Yeah, sure. So when you're speaking about hybrid work environment, if I understand it correctly, it's more about mix-up of different kinds of working environments. Like we have adopted a model where we are not only focusing on hiring our own people, but we are more working into a jig kind of working environment where it's a mix of contracting plus talents on our own pool. So that's the kind of work environment that we are moving forward. So we have also adopted a practice called the zero bench policy, where people who are out of a particular project, so normally what happens is that they come and be on the bench till the time they get the next project opportunity. So we don't want people to come and waste the time over there. So we create packets of work across the organization where a particular project needs an extra hand to work on. it may not be a billable opportunity, but they need an extra support to work on, where the people can learn that new technology and give an extended hand. So people across the organization who are coming out of the project waiting for the next opportunity take up these bunch packets of work. They help the ongoing projects. It's for a period of 2 to 3 weeks. They complete the task and move on to the next assignment. So this is the kind of model that we are slowly building in, where the people are actually collaborating across the organization, irrespective of what the stream that they're doing. If I am competent in a technology, if I can offer that skill for a particular period of time, yes, I will do that. I can do that actually, and the enablers are being enabled in the organization to do that actually. So there is no constraint like I am skilled in particular technology. I will be allowed to work only in this one. No, I can take up anything that I like. A short packet of work, do it, move ahead, and take the next assignment. So that's the kind of model that we are moving forward to.
Sorry, you're mute.
Every organization should really think of it. It's really a very good one. And Abhi, do you like to share anything on WFM tech? What is the future of WFM tech? It's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? And I think I alluded to that in my presentation as well. I think every single aspect of the WFM service offerings that, as we see, is going to completely evolve and going to be adopting tech in a very strong and big manner, if not done already. Reporting and WFM presentations analysis has already moved to different tools and tool sets. We have Power BI. We are engaging with Domo. We're building in-house tools as well. All of this is done to have all the kind of data analysis and trends available at the click of a button. It's housing of all of data. So we're building data warehouses so that all data points can be housed under the same roof. So that's about reporting and analysis. If you look at forecasting, AI-based forecasting is now here to stay. I spoke about all the kind of historic data possibly getting redundant because customer behavior in the last 8 to 10 months has completely changed. And for all you know, it could just define some of the oncoming period as well. And which is why it's best to have AI-based technologies to be able to predict in a very strong and better manner. In terms of foray of, so we're talking about, for forecasting as well, intraday pre-forecasting, or for that matter, predictive forecasting as well. It's best done by tool enablement. And when we talk about tool enablement in the scheduling space, we are obviously talking about off-the-shelf WFM products, which are now offering mobility as well. The entire schedules can be actually be accessed on the tablet or on a handheld device, on a mobile phone, where actually associates can actually look at their entire day schedules, month schedules, week schedules, can request for time offs, can request for shift swaps, etc. So all of that can be done without complete intervention as well. So this entire WFM model is actually, moving towards a self-serve kind of a model to cut down dependence and increase the kind of flexibility that we provide that only an automation and a tech-enabled business unit can do. Right. So that's overall piece.
Thanks, Abhi. I think that's the overall, as we see that AI-based WFM and then maybe robotics. I see that there's one question from WFM person. He's asking if technology is going to do it. Most of the cases, do we lose a job or do we have more opportunities? This question is for everyone. All the three of you. They're asking that when technology is getting advanced, right? Most of the job is done by the technology. It could be AI, or maybe the robotics, or any advancement of technology. Are we going to lose job or are we going to get more jobs?
No, actually, if you were to look at it, and Bhupesh, Rojas, I'm just taking a first punt at this. So just if I were to just have an immediate response to that, I think you are definitely going to lose your job if you're not going to look to upgrade your skills, right? And that happens in any industry, any work field, any kind of business unit that you work for. You stay stagnant and you risk your jobs, right? So you have to constantly evolve. I think there's going to be a different kind of technology obviously is a game changer, but it's going to be a different kind of skills requirement that comes with it. Now, AI can produce n number of data points. It can bring it out in a certain manner. one of the things that we need to have is also the way that we interpret the data, right? How do we practice it? What is the kind of message that the data is saying? So the jobs are going to change to be able to understand what is it that the data is saying. So it's not necessarily that you need to produce the data now. There will be tools that produce the data, but you are supposed to interpret what the underlying message is and then be able to provide that to the senior leadership and provide them a steer for decision making, right? Based on the data that the AI, the tools are throwing, you need to be able to comprehend that, understand it, and tell the management, here is what customer patterns are now revealing. This is the kind of change that is happening, and our recommendation is X, Y, and Z. And that's, those are going to be some roles that are going to come in very thick and fast. So you've got to be able to evolve along with the evolving technologies as well. Be able to upgrade yourself, upskill yourself, and be absolute tech savvy to be able to go on to the next ladder of availability of tools.
Yeah, I think I totally agree to that, Abhishek. We have to ensure that we upskill ourselves. It's not about just losing the job. I think it's losing the requirement that people might have. I think the focus will shift from doing the, like we call the mundane task of RTA reporting, but it has to move away from that. And how do we bring in more insights? A lot of customers have already started asking for this, and I think there is a lot of opportunity in getting what data is saying. I think we interpret it in the right fashion and then try and do the forecasting based on what we are seeing. There is a lot of data that we guys always have with us. I think we make at best a 20-25% good job of using that data in the right fashion. I think we have to upskill ourselves definitely and make best use of the availability of data that we have. Totally agree, Abhishek.
I agree. Yeah. Very, very good insights, Abhi and Bhupesh. Albert, Rogers, you have any say on that?
Yep, I think most of the points are covered by Abhi and Bhupesh. Just to add to that, so I would more of see workforce planning evolving as a partner function with respect to the business and the other enabling functions. Like rather than not limiting our role to just playing around with the numbers, we also need to be a function who takes a lead role in the strategy as well as in the planning areas as well, so that people listen to us, respect us, and take inputs from us actually, so that there's a defined value that we are able to bring into the business actually. So rather than just limiting our role to somebody who crunches the number and gives some data inputs and somebody else takes a decision on that one. No, but as Abhi and Bhupesh has rightly mentioned, go in depth to the data, analyze and bring in insights that are valuable to the business actually. So that's where our value is going to be, I think. And that's where the technology is actually enabling us to do that.
Absolutely. That's a great thing. I mean, it's a really very good insights from Abhi and Bhupesh also. Just so very good. I'm sure that WFM folks are taking this as a kind of food for thought and good lessons for 2021. And last question, if you could just name any 3 or 5 important strategies organizations should follow. And that's one. And second thing, that WFM professionals should have skill sets. These 2 things you could just share one after the other. 3 to 5 insights about the WFM strategies for the organization, what they really should have. The second thing is about what skill sets are must have for WFM professionals in 2021. Post-COVID learning is really taught we cannot apply the same knowledge or probably same methodology or same strategy that how we did it 1 or 2 years, 3 years back, right? 2021 is going to be a brand new strategy. It has to call for. Could you share some insights on that, Bhupesh, Rajesh, and also Abhi?
Yeah. So some part of it, Dr. touched upon what I was speaking on. I think the biggest thing that we definitely need to look at is a lot of focus now. If you look at the Indian market, the government also has relaxed the requirements for OSP, and we will see a lot of companies now trying to open permanently work at home options. I think a focus now has to go to how do we make best use of the opportunity that we have. COVID, when it started, it was a threat, and we did touch upon it's an opportunity that threat comes with. Abhi talked about it. I think now is the right time that we focus on how do we make best use of the opportunity that we've got, and a focus now will go towards ensuring that there is a lot of cost avoidance that we can focus on. Now, you will have employees working from home. The staff will continue to work from home in the near future, right? Even if the vaccine comes, depending on the deployment of the vaccination programs, depending on how many people are able to take it, I think the next year definitely will still be focused on ensuring we have people working from home. Now, when we work from home, there will be focus towards ensuring that we avoid any unnecessary cost. A lot of companies would have seen their profitability margins going down in the last year, but if some of those companies have been able to avoid the cost, I think they would have fared well. And next year would be again the same thing. We have to ensure that we avoid some of the costs. WFM plays an important role there, not just focusing on improving productivity, but also ensuring that how do we make, for example, if we don't need a facility that we've been working from office on, how do we replan that? So that's very, very important. A lot of our shared services, we will have opportunities. See, operations depends on the client sentiment also. If the client wants people to come back and if there are data restrictions, then operations has to work from office. But shared services, there might not be any need of having shared services working from office. So that is the other area that I think we can focus on. How do we get shared services permanently working from home and avoid that cost? WFM will play an important role. Like we were talking about, somebody asked that question, will we lose our job? I think as automation kicks in, we've touched upon that in the last question, we have to upskill and move away from the day-to-day plain vanilla reporting and get more insights to it. So that's what I see. I think that's how WFM plays an important role there.
That's very detailed.
Yep. So just to add to what Bhupesh has mentioned and to focus on some of the points. So I think the workforce planning, the major focus for the next time periods would be on the reskilling aspect, which I mentioned in the initial time of my presentation. Like we need to enable the reskilling culture throughout the organization, and we need to be the drivers for doing that actually. Because if you look at the cost aspect, as Bhupesh also mentioned out, hiring people outside for and so the existing people who are there within us, we need to find out the ways of making them enabled for doing higher jobs, better billing rates, and make them skilled for that actually. So that has to be a culture that needs to percolate within the organization, that everybody needs to reskill themselves in some or other areas which they can take up as a higher responsibility. So that is one area that I like to touch on. Secondly, I think that looking at the overall picture of the talent supply chain itself, like we need to work in a way in which we are enabling the talent supply chain partners to be effective. When I say partners, the supply source of our talents, like how do we develop them? Our vendors who are supplying the talents for us, so how do we work in close with them so that they are also developed and growing along with us, like giving them the insights and opportunities which is going to come in the future. How do we develop their capabilities so that they are able to support us in the times of our need actually. So we have seen multiple cases where our vendors have been extremely supportive to us in supporting the right talents when we were in need actually, and in numbers actually, huge numbers actually. So unless and until we enable them, we give them that kind of visibility and opportunities, etc., that won't happen actually. They'll not be ready to support us. So vendor enablement, partner enablement as a part of the talent supply chain is also very essential thing I think we need to do as a part of the workforce planning. So I think these are two things that I thought I will touch upon.
Thanks, Rajesh. Any insights from you, Abhi?
I think it was a very detailed response by Bhupesh and Rajesh. I think if I have to add to that, and I touched upon that during my preamble, actually, Dr. Shiva, is this digital enablement, and I can't stress more on that. And I think we've spoken about that. But the entire work from home environment, it's here to stay. And digital enablement is the one that will ensure that we maximize on that, we leverage that particular piece, and we absolutely deliver maximized results basis that. The scenario, as we know, has changed. The historic information, as we know, possibly might just get redundant. It's a new customer, it's a new product that needs to get to the customer. So it's a very different world altogether, right? And if we were to venture in that ourselves without any kind of help from digitization, I think it's going to be a very, very remote world for us, right? So, and we might just get, behind this entire unfolding scenario. So, which is why I think digital enablement is of primary importance. That's something that I'd like to add here. The second focus area would obviously be, endearing yourself to the brand, to the product, and to the customer, because how this scenario has unfolded, what kind of impact that it has had on every customer, every account, every client is very different, and which is why they are going to emerge from this in a very different manner. They might just change their entire service offerings, they might change their entire way that they contact the customer, or for that matter, the customer contacts them. They might just have a different product coming in. Now, if we are not engaging with the customer, we will be left behind on all the strategies that the customer is planning, and which is why we will not be able to plan that much better for the customer, and which is why I think endearing ourselves to the client is of paramount importance. And the third important thing is to invest in our people and just make sure that a constant upgrade happens. So what COVID has done is that it has forced people to upgrade themselves, upgrade their skills, and anybody who is not doing that is going to get left behind, right? So we need to invest in our people and just make sure that they catch the bus and make sure that they are completely upskilled and upgraded for the future.
Thanks, Avi. I think that has been a phenomenal sharing, and also I see that today we really learned a lot. One is about the lessons that which you have learned. A lot of lessons that when you write a report about this event, a lot of lessons that which I'm going to take it forward from each one of you. And also, like the conversation started as far as the priorities for 2021. It's been a phenomenal learning and a lot of insights that I got, and I'm sure that the audience got a good benefit out of this. And however, we're going to have the recording of this sharing. Some of them could not join because of timings issue. Sorry about that. There's some mistake in the timings. It is showing that 2 p.m. ANZ timing. So that's one reason. However, we got good number of attendees as well, and we had 84 registration. And so with this, can you have Partho? Partho, would you be able to come onto the camera? So today we have inaugurated ANZ chapter, and today is the first inaugurations where we're going to have many more events kickstarting. As far as the ANZ chapter is concerned, I request and also encourage ANZ members whoever is part of Australia and New Zealand to take part of it. Please support and join us with a new initiative. We want to reach out to every WFM professional's heart and soul, and every organization in the ANZ chapter. Be part of it. Let's network together professionally, and let's help each other. Let's create a knowledge sharing platform. So with this, I really thank and express gratitude to Rogers and Abhi and Bhupesh. It's really been great support extending. Thank you so much for taking time out. Rogers, I know that you have been very busy. You could not have time yesterday, and I know that kind of schedule that you go through is really very difficult. Thank you so much for taking time out and sharing your knowledge. It's been a phenomenal learning and insightful. Partho, you have anything to say?
I am just, full of these bits that we heard from all our speakers. And at my age, this kind of upskilling is phenomenal. I'm, a little archaic, so these are opportunities that helps me learn. And I'm sure people who attend, this is the best way of learning, actually, right? upskilling as a formal process always gets difficult in organizations, and very difficult to run an inclusive upskilling program across an organization. So I personally feel that we've been able to start an initiative, and all of you, the kind of support that you showed through your interactions, I mean, it will only take us way, way forward. And I am deeply grateful to all of you for helping us with this. Thank you again. Greatly obliged. Thank you.
Thanks, Madhu. Thanks, Bhupesh, Rajas, and Abhi. Thank you so much, and Nadia. So much. Anything you'd like to share, Abhi, Bhupesh, and Rajas? We can just wind up in a minute.
I think we've covered it all. Thank you, Dr. Shore, for giving the opportunity for all of us to engage with each other. I think this is a great forum. Love to be a part of the other chapters as in the new year. And I'll wish a very happy new year to everybody. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, and I think just adding to what Partho said, I think it's a very, very strong platform to be able to get the entire fraternity together and have a forum to actually exchange best practices. And more power to you guys. I think the ANZ chapter is another feather in your caps, and I just wish you all the very best to make a success out of this chapter as well as you've done with the others. So all the best, Dr. Shiva and Partho. And to the entire audience, I think hope you have a great break, spend a lot of time with your family, enjoy those festivities, and meet you at the other side of the year, right? And Happy New Year and happy holidays, guys.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So, thank you, Dr. Siva. Thank you, the panelists and all the participants of this event. It's a great opportunity to meet and talk to you all, I think. And this forum, Dr. Siva, has been greatly, I think it will be greatly helpful for all of us because it's one of the first forums that I think workforce planning professionals have come together actually and sharing their ideas and thoughts and taking us back to the implementation where we can take up these ideas for implementation in our own organizations. So I think it's a great forum. Thank you so much for organizing this. Thank you, Partho and Shiva, once again, and wishing all the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajas. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Supporting. Okay. Happy New Year in advance. Let's connect soon.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, audience, for being there. It was really great having you with us. Thank you so much. With this, we close the ANG chapter event. Thank you.